Hi folks, how's it going? My name is Emmett Byrne. I'm producer at Cubicle 7 on Warhammer Age of Sigmar Soulbound. And today I'm going to show you how to make a character in Soulbound. So first up, I grab our PDF. If you buy our books through our website, you get the PDF for free. So you can just download it and have it ready and use it for reference just like this. Otherwise you can buy the PDF by itself through our website or through DriveThruRPG. If you just want to pick up the digital copy, but all of our physical copies come with come included with a PDF. So we have our PDF here, and I've opened my helpful bookmarks over on the side. I also have our form fillable character sheet, which you can pick up with your download when you get the core book. You can get it through DriveThruRPG when you get the core book, or if you go to our website, www.cubicle7games.com/our games/resources. You can see here you have our character sheets and party sheets and some pre-gen characters, so you can see what a completed character looks like in Soulbound. We also have this for all of our other lines, so you have Warhammer Fantasy and Wrath and Glory and stuff, but the Soulbound sheets are there. Okay, so we will start with our character creation. You can see we'll skip over the introduction and jump straight to the character creation. You can see chapter 2, character creation. So first thing we do is we have a step-by-step guide here to take you through character creation, and Age of Sigmar uses archetypes, which gives you kind of a quick way to get playing straight away. So you get a preset amount of attributes and skills and talents, and then you can make some choices within that, and it gets you up and running straight away. Which we'll get into now. If you want more control over character creation, we have rules here you can see for freeform character creation, which kind of gives you some experience points to spend on your skills and talents and everything like that. If you use freeform character creation, you'll end up with the exact same power level of characters as the archetypes. They're all built using the same amount of experience points. So if some people want to use archetypes and some people want to use the freeform character creation, that's fine. As long as the GM is happy with it, you're fine. Right, so step one, we have we'll choose our archetype. So as I mentioned, archetypes are kind of pre-built, like 50 to 80% of the way done for you with what you need for your character. So they give you preset attributes, they give you core skill and core talent, and then you have some choices of skills and talents within that, and then you get a kind of a set of equipment and stuff. So for ours, I've decided that one of my favorite characters is our Knight Quester, who's on the cover, Vel Arturius. So I decided I'm going to make a Knight Quester, and just for handiness, I opened another PDF with the archetype already open, so we wouldn't be flicking back and forth. So you can see in Knight Quester we have our lovely artwork here done by one of our artists, Daniel Kovac. So the Knight Quester is a champion of the Celestial Realm, charged with a holy duty by the God King themselves. So Knight Quester is a Stormcast Eternal who are charged by Sigmar, who's the God King, with a holy quest, essentially. So I'm going to play a Knight Quester in the game. So when you choose your archetype, okay, that's I know the archetype that I want. Each archetype lists its species. So you can see here, if I just zoom in a little bit, we'll scroll down. So species is Stormcast Eternal. Now while the Stormcast Eternals do appear human, they are kind of the epitome of humans or mortals kind of taken to that next level. They're like 7 foot tall, hugely powerful. They are so different from regular humans as to essentially we consider them mechanically a different species. So my species is Stormcast Eternal. So see here you'll have we've run down of each of the species. So the other ones you can be human, elf, dwarden, sylvaneth, and Stormcast Eternal. Each species gets its own species bonus, which is a little bonus you get for picking that as that species. So the humans get an extra talent. They can choose from any talent they want. I'll skip Stormcast Eternals for now. Elves get they get extra XP to spend on skills to kind of reflect their long life. They have that bit more experience. Dwarden are too stubborn to die, so they get extra wounds, which we'll talk about later. And then the Sylvaneth have a naturally hard skin, which is their bark. which gives them a natural armor of 2. They can't wear armor, but they always have that natural armor, and their armor grows back, which is important because there's stuff in the game that can break armor. So for Stormcast Eternal, our species bonus is we can be reforged. So the Stormcast Eternals, when they die, they don't actually die. Their souls are pulled to Azir, which is the realm of heaven, and then they're reforged again into a Stormcast Eternal and sent back. So they're kind of the same person. They lose something in the transition, which in the reforging process, which is this flaw in the reforging, which provides a lot of opportunity for role playing. So they don't provide any XP or extra talents or anything like that, but you do have this really cool story hook of you can be reforged and come back. And essentially your character is immortal. Now, so the 3 bullet points we have here are, during character creation, roll d6 to see how many times you've been reforged. So we have a 6-sided dice here. So Soulbound uses exclusively 6-sided dice. So there you do your standard d6s that you get in any standard board game or that you might be familiar with from the Age of Sigmar battle game. I did have lovely Nagash dice with the symbol of Shaiish on it, but they seem to have gone missing at some point. I think someone in the office might have lifted them, but I'll track them down. But for now, we just have the standard 6-sided dice with pips. So I'll roll a dice to see how many times I've been reforged. Once. So I've only been reforged once. So let's just jump to our character sheet here, and I've made a couple of choices, so I'll just note them in here. So I've character name, I won't put it in yet, but I know I'm going to be. So my archetype is Knight Quester. Species is Stormcast Eternal. I'm probably going to get some typos in here. Stormcast Eternal, Knight Quester. Age, signature features, we haven't done any of that yet. And then I'm just going to note on the back that I've been reforged once. All right. So when I die, I can be reforged again. It's very much a narrative thing. So you chat to your GM. It's not like boom, you're back. You chat to your GM, and you can come up with a narratively dramatic point to come back, or it can take weeks or days or months or hours. It really depends. So you decide when is a good time with the GM to come back. It can be a really kind of when your party is in trouble and you can just kind of reappear in this flash of lightning to save them, or it can be maybe during downtime. You're okay, we're all taking a break for a few weeks, and during that time my character is reforged and they come back and they meet back up with the group. The last thing to note on the species bonus here for the Stormcast Eternals is not really a bonus, it's more so almost a negative. So Stormcast Eternals can't be soulbound, which is when the party comes together, they become soulbound. Stormcast Eternals are already bound to Sigmar, their souls are already bound to Sigmar, so they can't become soulbound. So that should be all we need here from this step. So we'll skip ahead. So attributes, which I've mentioned before. So Soulbound has 3 attributes. We use body, mind, and soul. So body is your physical strength and agility and everything. It's kind of all rolled into one. So it's kind of your natural body awareness and just kind of how healthy you are, really. Mind is to do with your intelligence and your kind of quick wit and problem solving ability. Then soul is very much to do with your presence and your actual inner self, but also your outward self and how you empathize and sympathize with people. And they all have their own uses. The having a high body would mean that you can potentially be very strong and lift things. Having a high mind, your intelligence, you can solve problems. Having a high soul means that you could potentially charm people or intimidate people or resist the effects of fear and terror and stuff. You're particularly good at that kind of thing. So our archetype gives us a starting attributes, a set of starting attributes, which are for us, you can see 4 body, 2 mind, and 3 soul. So Stormcast Eternals are that bit more powerful than say another archetype. If I just flick through one, so say that their attributes total 9 there. If I just flick through to say one of the Cardon Skyrigger here, so 331, so they only total to 7. So there is a difference in power for the Stormcast Eternals, but they have that downside of they can't become soulbound, and they have this responsibility to Sigmar that they have to go during their downtime and go and basically rejoin the fight against chaos and death. So for our Stormcast Eternals, our Knight Quester, our attributes are body, mind, and soul. So we'll just note those in here on our character sheet. So body 4, mind 2, I think, soul 3. Yes, you think I would know. Okay, cool. So those are our attributes. If you want, you can swap those around. You can swap one of them around. So say what I could do is I could decide, okay, well maybe my character's soul is actually even stronger, so I could swap body and soul if I wanted. So I would have 3 body and 4 soul. Or again, I could, maybe my Night Quester is actually more of a thinker than a fighter, so I could swap body and mind, which would be quite interesting. So you could swap one of your attributes with another. I'm happy with that as it is though, so I'm going to leave it where it is. Okay, so and then onto skills and talents. So you have, each archetype has a core skill and a core talent. The core skill is something that they are trained in. It kind of helps define the archetype itself, and then the core talent is, really kind of the epitome of the archetype. So for the Night Quester, the core skill is the weapon skill, which is basically fighting with swords and hammers and axes and things like that. And their core talent is called Heroic Challenge, which allows them to challenge an enemy on the field, and the enemy can't fight anyone else until they've dealt with the Night Quester, which is very much this kind of heroic champion that defends everyone, and they won't let others be hurt. So for a core skill, we have weapon skill. And what your core skill gives you is, it gives you training and focus in a skill. So what training does, if I just go over to the character sheet here, so you can see here, if I zoom in a bit, whoops, yeah, that's fine. So you have here training on the left, focus on the right. So what training does is allows you to roll an extra dice when you make an attack. So if I was to make a weapon attack, I would use body and weapon skill. So I'd roll a number of dice equal to my body, which is 4. And then if I have nothing in weapon skill, I don't add any extra dice. If I have a level of training in weapon skill, which I click here, I add an extra dice. So I would be rolling 5d6. So we have 4 here plus 1 for my weapon skill. Because it's my core skill for my archetype, I get 1 level of training and 1 level of focus in it. So click both of these. What focus does is let you modify a roll after you've rolled. So if I rolled and say I needed a 4 to hit, and I had rolled a 3, if I had focus, I could give that a little +1. So it's +1 to 1 dice that you've rolled. If you have level 2 focus, you can give +2 to a dice, or you can give +1 to 2 dice. Dice. If you have 3 in focus, you can give +1 to 3 different die, or you can give +2 and +1, or +3 to just a single die. So it's up to you how you spread it, but it's basically it's a little way to modify the dice, and it gives you a little bit more control over the dice. So that's my core skill. So my core skill is weapon skill, which gives me training and focus. All right. So that's our core skill. We also get a selection of other skills, and we have a certain amount of experience points to spend on the skills. So these kind of represent skills that are important to the archetype, but that not necessarily all of the archetypes might have training in, all members of the archetype. So if you 20 Night Questers line up, some of them might have training in athletics, some of them might have training in fortitude, some of them might have training in theology. So it just gives you a bit more choice there. Your core skill is included in that, so you can add more to that. So you can choose to spend your XP on getting training or focus in these skills. XP for 1 level of training costs 1 XP, 1 level of focus costs 1 XP. To go up again, it would cost you 2 XP. And to go up again, it will cost you another 4. So that table is shown. Let me just see if I can find it here at the end of the character creation chart. So advancement here. So you can see the skill cost here. You have 1 level of training costs 1 XP. 1 level of focus costs 1 XP. To go up to the next level, it costs another 2 XP. To go up to the next level, it costs another 4 XP. So if you were going straight from 0 to 3, it would actually to level 2 in training, it would cost you 3 XP, because it cost you 1 to get to that first level, then it costs you another 2 to get to the next level, so it's costing you 3 all told. So that is on page 41. It's a good reference to have. Let me just put back my bookmarks here. Right, so I have 7 XP, and I can choose from athletics, which is kind of running, jumping, climbing trees. Determination, which is your kind of grit and being able to kind of push through stuff like fear and that kind of thing. Fortitude is to kind of resisting poisons and sickness. Intimidation is literally just intimidating people. It uses soul for the most part, or you can change the attribute that you're using for it. Lore, which is just lore and knowledge of the realms or history. Might is actual strength. It's different from athletics. Athletics would be more kind of, I suppose, towards kind of your agility and sprinting, running, that kind of thing. Whereas might is literally pure strength for like kicking down a door or lifting something heavy. Kind of explosive bursts of strength, as opposed to athletics, which would be kind of more prolonged tests. Reflexes, which is just getting out of the way of things. In combat, that helps with your defense. Survival, which is kind of tracking, looking for tracks, knowing where you are in the realms and things like that. Theology is knowledge of religion and the gods, and then weapon skill is being able to fight with weapons. So for Vel, I have 7 here. So what I'm going to do is I am going to take reflexes anyway, because I want reflexes. So that's going to cost me 2. So I've spent 2 there. So I have 5 left. To me, my Night Quester has studied religion as well, being one of Sigmar's holy warriors. So I'm going to give her a training in theology, so I spent 1, 2, 3. I'm going to give her determination. I imagine she's very, very determined. So I'm going to give her training in that as well. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. And I think I'm going to give her, let's say, intimidation. And Stormcast Eternals are scary and intimidating. So let's say, yeah, I always like taking extra dice. Most people prefer to take the focus, which gives them more control. I always like to just have extra dice. So that's ignoring the weapon skill. We spent 1 on theology, 1, 2 on reflexes, which gives us 3, and then another 1 on intimidation, 4, determination, 5. I have 2 points left, so what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to bump my weapon skill up to training up to 2, which makes 7. Okay, so that gives us 7 XP spent on our skills, so I'm happy enough with that. This is probably different from the pre-gen that's actually out there. Download, this is just the way I'm making it now. Okay, so next up is our core talent, which I mentioned is Heroic Challenge. Let me just jump and see if I can find it here, just to give you an idea. So talents are on page 78, and then, so if we, here we go. So Heroic Challenge has a requirement, which is Night Quester. So it lets me call out a challenge to my enemies, demanding that they face me. So any enemy who chooses has to fight me, or else if they try to fight someone else, they take a penalty. So that's my talent. Then, as well as that, we have, so that's our core talent. You get that for free. And then you have talents, and I can choose 3 more talents here from these. So what you want to do is you probably have a quick look at these, flick to, well, when you have the physical copy, flick to the page and just have a quick scan of these talents and see which one of them kind of jump out at you. So what I'm going to do for my Night Quester is I am going to take Combat Ready, which I believe gives me +2 initiative, which will come up later. So let me just, I should probably start noting my talents down, shouldn't I? So talents, let's see, Heroic Challenge. I'm going to take Combat Ready, which gives me +2. I am going to take Bulwark, which gives me a bonus to my defense when I'm surrounded. So I imagine she's very much the type of person that defends people in defense or allies. So I'm going to take Bulwark, which gives me a bonus to my defense when I'm protecting my allies. And I can take 1 more. So yeah, we'll go with Intimidating Manner. Yeah, I think that fits. So that will give me advantage when I'm trying to intimidate people. Intimidating. I can spell, I swear. So intimidating manner. Okay, so there are my talents. Some of them might affect some of our combat abilities, but we'll come back to those later, and we can check those out. Right, so that's most of that done. That's our skills, that's our talents. As I said, if you're doing the freeform character creation, you would just have a bulk of XP that you could spend on whatever talents and skills you wanted, as long as you had the requirements to meet the talent. So it gives you a lot of control over what you want to do, but using the archetypes is very good for quickly getting up and running and getting playing the game, and gives you can ease you into learning the rules, I would say. Okay, so next up is equipment. So we got some equipment. So let's see. Val gets her Sigmar warplate, which is heavy armor, which is great. She has a Quester warblade, which is a sword, and a shield, and then any two and a shield or any two-handed melee weapon. So if I didn't want a sword, I could take a different two-handed melee weapon. She has her Quester cloak, a small pendant bearing the mark of her previous storm host, and 65 drops of Aqua Granus. So depending on what storm host she's from, she might have a different symbol. So if she's Anvils of the Heldenhammer, they do the symbol of Anvilgard, and or so on. So it's just a little kind of flavorful thing. These aren't listed in the equipment section. They're just kind of a nice little flavorful thing for you. And then she has 65 drops of Aqua Granus, which is currency in our game in Soulbound. So I'm just going to note these down. Right. So I have, let's see. I have a cloak. I have Sigmarite warplate. And in my right hand, I have my Quester warblade. And in my left hand, I have my Sigmarite shield. Whoops. There we go. Okay. And then jewelry, I have a pendant, which I may have spelled wrong there. Did I spell it wrong? Yes, I did. There we go. Okay. So if we jump to the equipment section, we'll see what these do. And we can note it down as a character sheet as we go. Okay. So if we just jump to the equipment section here, weapons and armor. So Sigmarite weapons and armor have the excuse me. Sigmarite weapons and armor have the Sigmarite trait, which basically they are magical. So they're, if you're fighting spirits and things like that, they work like a regular weapon would. And they're also basically unbreakable except by powerful magic, which is pretty good. So they're pretty good. So melee weapons here, you'll see on the character sheet. So on the archetype, it's listed as Quester Warblade, which is kind of a flavorful name for the weapon because there's so many different types of weapons in the realm. But they boil down to basically doing the same thing for the most part. So Quester Warblade, is a sword. So it gives us 1+S damage, and it has a slashing trait. These are all explained in the rulebook. I won't get into them now. And it would also, because it's Sigmarite, will have the Sigmarite trait. So if I go back to my character sheet here, we go boop, Quester Warblade, stick it in here. Okay, and it does 1+S damage, S being the amount of successes that you roll, and it is Sigmarite and slashing. Okay, so a pool for making a melee attack is body plus my weapon skill. My body is 4 and my weapon skill is training 2, so that's actually, I have 6, so I roll 66 for my attack, which is pretty good. And then I have +1 focus as well, which means that of those 6, if one of them maybe fails by 1, I can add a +1 and then suddenly I have an extra success. So that's my Quester Warblade. If I jump here to armor, you'll see, so the where is it? Sigmarite warplate is heavy armor. So if I check here, heavy armor, it gives me, I need body 4 first, which I have, and it gives me 3 armor. It's also loud, which means that I have disadvantage on stealth tests, and people will notice me if if I'm clanking around in my armor. But it gives me body 3, which is pretty great. So, or sorry, it gives me armor 3. So I'm gonna stick armor 3 in there. And then I'm just gonna note that my armor is loud. Armor is loud. Okay, right. So that should be everything. So body 4 and it's loud. And then I have a shield. So a shield will increase my defense 1 step, which we'll get into at the end of character creation, but it's just something to remember for now. Okay, so just remember we have a shield. Okay, I think that's pretty much it for my equipment. And we'll jump back. Alrighty. So adding detail, this is where we kind of have a little bit more fun. Not that we aren't having fun already, but just, you know, we get to roll in a lot of random tables here, which is lots of fun. So this is just, we have a list of names here, kind of common human, elf, stormcast names. The stormcast tend to pull their names from a lot of different places, but we have some example names here. So I'm going to go with Vel, which we see down here, and Arturius. So Vel, Arturius, that's me. Why is it scrolling so slow? Come on. There we go. Vel, Arturius. And I'm going to say she doesn't have a title just yet, so we're just going to leave her as Vel Arturius. So we have our Stormcast names, Elf names, Dwarven names. Let's skip ahead to physical appearance. So for age, the Stormcast Eternals are reforged, so we don't have an age table for them. But you can pretty much just use the human table and say your character looks that age. So let's see, I have my 3d6 here. So let's see. So Vel looks, yikes, that's a 6, 6, and a 4. Okay, so 16 plus 15, 31. So Vel looks 31. That's the wrong thing. Alrighty. Okay, cool. So Vel, let's say 31. We'll just put 31 down for now. Alrighty. So now, next up. So eyes, very important. Distinguishing features. Okay, right. So what we do here is we have this fun table where you roll d6 to get the column, and then roll d6 to go down and get the row. So if I roll a d6 here, it's 5. So accent or speech, and we roll again, and I got 4. So Vel has a lazy drawl, which is just something that we can note down. Lazy drawl. So she speaks quite slow. I'm not even going to try and do a lazy drawl. We'll just leave it for the gaming table. All right. So eyes, we have a table for eye, hair, and height. So eye type. And then eye color, so you it just gives you a bit more flavor for the eyes. And again, we have our eye table here, so I'll roll again, and I get 4 and 1. So Vel has soft, and then for Stormcast Eternals here, see this table here, we can just roll down here. So we roll 3d6, 5. All right, soft green eyes, which according to the artwork is wrong, but hey, we'll just go with it. Eyes. Soft green. Yeah, capitalize. Okay. Right. And let's go with hair color. Let's see. 3d6 again. All right. 12. Brown. Yep. Looks good. All right. Brown hair. And then height. Let's see how tall she is. So Stormcast Eternals here, you can see their height is 6'8". 6 foot 8 inches plus another 3d6 inches. So what do we got? Okay, 6, 9. I can't do maths. So that's 6, 11. Oh my god, I'm panicking. So 7'5", I think. And if I'm wrong, just message me on Twitter. So Vel is 7'5". So I think that intimidating manner probably makes sense. We don't have a weight in for a table. Kind of up to you. I'm not even going to go and figure out how heavy a 7'5" person would be in full plate mail. We'll just leave it empty for now. Right. So goals. So goals are what your character's drive are. They're literally your goals in life. So you have short-term goals and long-term goals. Short-term goals can be achieved over a space of a session or two. And long-term goals are more of a kind of campaign-long thing. or even multiple sessions, say 10 to 15 sessions maybe. So when you complete goals, you get XP. So goals are really important for helping your character grow and get experience points. So my short-term goal is, I'm going to say Val, short-term, she wants to get to Brightspear. She has to get to Brightspear to meet Lord Arcanum, Salonia Gravewing. But to save time, I'm just going to say get to Brightspear. So her long-term goal, we might just leave it blank for now. It might come up over the course of play. It might be, wipe out Siege Cultists from Brightspear, or find out who she was before she was reforged, or something like that. So you don't have to have long-term goals straight out of the gate. They might come up more naturally through play. So you can always leave it blank and come back to it. Short-term goal, long-term goal. So the party, again, ideally when you're making a character, you should be making them with the rest of the group, because it creates a bit more cohesion around everyone. Again, parties have short-term and long-term goals. Your short-term goal would probably be the goal of whatever adventure you're playing in. So we're adventure, say Crash and Burn, our free adventure that you can get on Drive-Thru, you can get on our website. The short-term goal might be get out of these caves, and I won't say any more than that because that might be a spoiler. And then your long-term goal is more so what the party wants to do over the course of, again, perhaps the whole campaign. So this is almost definitely, I would say, leave it until you've played a couple of sessions and you kind of know who the big bad of your game is. It could be go and kill Archaon, which is probably not a super great idea, but you can have it as a long-term goal if you want. It's good to dream big, or reverse the effects of Necroquake, which is probably not going to happen, but they're kind of these aspirational things. But you can wait until you've played a couple of sessions and figure out what your goals are. And again, you get different rewards for this. I won't get into them now. Okay, so bringing your character to life. These are just kind of 10 flavorful questions that just get you thinking about your character. What was their family like? What was their childhood like? That kind of thing. For someone like Stormcast Eternals, these are interesting questions to answer and perhaps set aside. Your character might not even know them, but you might have an idea of where your character comes from. Or, if you're playing Stormcast, you could ask the GM to come up with them, or you could just leave these blank and come up with them gradually and fill these out as you learn more about your past. For other characters, you can, I'm a Fire Slayer from Vostargemont, so you kind of know where you are, or why are you Soulbound now, and things like that. One thing I missed was party connections. So we have connections here, and then we have another table. So these are just like little connections that you have to the rest of the party when you play. So again, we'll roll to get our column. So 5 and 2. So I carry something of blanks, and they have something of mine. So when I know who the other characters are, so say one of our other characters is Zan, who's our Excelsior War Priest. So my character carries something of his, and his character carries something of mine. Just creates a little tie, and then you can work with the other player to figure out what that is and why each of you have this, and what led to the point where you were swapping over these items. There's like, oh, he might have my old sword or something like that. Okay, so your questions here. All right, so we're almost done. We're at our finishing touches here. And these are kind of last bits of the character sheet to fill out. That's okay. Let's see. There are talents there. When I'm doing this, I will actually write in what the talents do. Okay, so finishing touches kind of revolve around this section of the character sheet. So you have metal. Melee. So melee is your melee ability, your ability in combat. So when you're attacking someone, what you do is you compare your melee with their defense, and you figure out the difficulty of the test to hit them. So to figure out your melee, you add your body plus any levels of training in the weapon skill, and then you consult the table that we have here, the ladder. So my body is scroll 4, and my weapon skill I have training 2, so that gives me a 6. So if I flick over and check the table here, okay, 6, that means that my melee is good. I'm well trained and have natural gift for fighting. So So that's good. So I just click good. This is our little melee symbol here, the hammer, Sigmar hammer. Set your melee. So when you're in combat, what you'll do is, say if I was fighting someone and they had defense average, say, and I'm good, so I'm 1 step better. And you can see we have this little chart here. So if I'm 1 step higher, the difficulty hit them is 3. But we'll get into that maybe in another video. All right. So that's our melee. Accuracy is your ability with ranged weapons. So the way that this works is it's your mind plus your ballistic skill. Basically, it uses mind for your accuracy, which is kind of gauging the distance to someone and gauging the angle. And then when you're actually rolling, you use body ballistic skill, which is the act of, say, pulling a trigger or throwing a weapon or something. And so it actually uses 2 attributes. So for accuracy, mind plus ballistic skill, I can tell what Val's is going to be already. So her mind is 2. It's okay. Ballistic skill is 0. So she just has 2. If we check the table, it's poor. So she's much more of an up close and personal fighter. So her accuracy is poor. All right. So defense is your ability to dodge blows or deflect blows as they're coming in at you. Again, when someone's attacking you, they will compare their melee or accuracy to your defense. And depending on what it is, it'll make it easier or harder to hit you. So your defense is body plus reflexes, which if we go and check again, Val's body is 4. She has training 1 in reflexes, which gives her 5, which puts us at good, I think. Yep. So that puts us at good. Okay. But we have a shield. So because we have a shield, it automatically increases your defense 1 step. So my defense, Val's defense is actually great, which is great. It will make her very, very hard to hit. And then, with bulwark, if she's surrounded by 2 people, it's going to go up again. So her defense is going to be superb. So she's going to be really, really, really hard to hit. And that really fits with her character in my mind, because she's all about defending people and making sure that people are protected. Okay, so that is Val's defense. Her armor is 3. So we already checked that in the equipment chapter. So her armor is 3. If we go back, I don't think I need this anymore. Anyway, toughness. Okay, so your toughness is how many hits you take before you start taking serious damage. So toughness is your kind of grit and determination. Every character's toughness is equal to your body plus your mind plus your soul. So for Val, I think we had actually done this already. So her, we can just check her 4, 2, 3. So her toughness is 9. So she currently has 9 toughness out of 9 total. Okay. When you take a rest, your toughness comes back, and there's spells and stuff that can bring back your toughness. So toughness very much kind of goes down and comes back up and goes down and up. So you lose and gain it a lot. So when you lose all your toughness, that you start to take wounds, which are very bad. So wounds here, they're much harder to shake off. You need like 8 hours rest to get rid of one of them, or you need an actual doctor or medic or someone to look after you to actually recover wounds. Magic isn't going to cut it for now. So our wounds are equal to our body plus mind plus soul divided by 2. And in Soulbound, you always round up. Whenever you have to divide by something, you round up. So body plus mind plus soul divided by 2. So 9 divided by 2 is 4.5, and we round up to 5. So that gives me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spaces on the wounds track. So I'm just going to mark all these in as not being used right now. Oops. So effectively, these are what the okay, I can do this. Right. So as I take wounds, these will start to fill up. As soon as these fill up, I will be dying, essentially. So that's very bad. You don't want your wounds to fill up. So what can happen is you can get reduced to 0 toughness. You take a wound, and then you get 5 toughness back, but you still have a wound. So the wounds stay. So if you lose your toughness again and take another damage, you'll take another wound, and so on. These are explained in more detail, obviously, in the rules chapter. But for now, that's where that is. Anything else? Wounds. Initiative. All right. So your initiative is when you act in combat. It's how quick you react. Soulbound uses static initiative, so whoever has the highest initiative just goes next and next and next and next. The Game Master chapter has some options on using alternate initiative. So say if my initiative was 5, if we're using alternate initiative, okay, roll d6 and add 5, 7, cool. And you would change that as the combat goes. It gives a bit more variety to combat, but by default we use static initiative. So your initiative is equal to your mind plus any training you have in awareness and reflexes. So Belle's mind is 2. No training in awareness, but she does have training in reflexes, which gives her 3. But she has combat ready, which gives a +2 to initiative. I'm just going to check, make absolutely sure. Oh, bit of lag there. Combat ready, yeah. +2 bonus to initiative, and I can never be surprised. Happy days. Okay, so that gives me a +2, which actually means I have 5 initiative, which is great. Pretty good, pretty good. Okay, so I think we're almost done. And I've lost where I was. Finishing touches. Cool. Alrighty, and then natural awareness is, if you're searching for something, you would make an awareness test, which would be your mind plus awareness. Natural awareness is just your literally your natural awareness of the environment around you. So it's half that. So it's your mind plus your awareness divided by 2, and then round up. So Vel's mind is 2. She has no awareness. Divided by 2 gives us 1. So our natural awareness is 1. Okay. So again, it's mind plus any training awareness. I don't have any, so it's I'm with 2. Divided by 2 leaves me with 1. So my natural awareness is 1. So not super great. And then last thing is metal. So metal is a resource that you have in the game which allows you to take extra actions. It fuels kind of a lot of talents and miracles that some of the other archetypes might have access to, like the Orc Rune Smiter has miracles that use metal to power them and things like that. So metal lets you take extra actions in combat. So and you recover 1 per turn. So you are pretty much always getting 2 actions in combat. So you have an action as standard, and then you have whatever actions you can take with metal. And then once you burn through all your metal, you get 1 back a turn. So you might want to save it depending on what you're trying to do. So your metal is equal to half your soul, rounded up. So Vel's metal, her soul is 3. Half is 1.5, and then rounded up to 2. So she has 2 metal. So that means in start combat, Vel could take an action, and then she could spend a metal to take another action, and then she could spend a metal to take another action. And then the next round she'd get a metal back. So first round she could take 3 actions, second round she could take 2 actions. So yeah, you've a lot of stuff you can do. So she could defend, she can attack, she can help her allies, she can run, and all that kind of stuff. So there's plenty you can do. And we're done. We're finished. That was easy. So that's quick character creation in Soulbound. As you're playing and you're getting experience from short-term goals, long-term goals, you get experience points which you can spend on attributes and skills and talents and things like that. But that's the basics of character creation using one of the archetypes. As I mentioned, if you go back to page 19, we have freeform character creation. You'll end up with pretty much the same power level of characters. All the characters use 35 experience points as a base, except the Stormcast Eternals, you start with 40. But you can do freeform character creation, and you can pick whatever species you want, you can pick whatever talents you want, you can pick whatever skills you want. It gives you more freedom over it, but as I said, using the archetypes helps you get through, get playing really quick, which is always the important thing. Okay, I think that's it. So that's character creation Soulbound. As I mentioned, character sheets are here on our website, so cubicle7games.com. So go to cubicle7games.com, and you can just go down the bottom here to resources, and that'll take you into where to get character sheets. You can follow our blog on our website, cubicle7games.com. We have the store, some how to play stuff. All our latest products will be up there, and then we have our news and events in our blog area, which we update regularly, a couple of times a week usually. And then you can keep up to date. You can follow us on Twitter and Facebook, and YouTube, I guess. I guess this is where that'll be. That's where this will be. So yeah, you can keep up to date with us there on our various social media platforms. And you can also sign up for our newsletter. So they go out, I think, maybe every 2 weeks or so, 2 weeks to a month. And you just get a roundup of the latest information. So any news on Age of Sigmar, Soulbound, on Warhammer Fantasy, on Warhammer 40k, Wrath and Glory, or any of our other stuff that we have coming up. So you can just sign up for the mailing list there, and you'll get an update every few weeks as to what's going on with us. Okay, so that's it. That's character creation in Soulbound. I hope that was helpful. Drop us any messages or questions, or do let me know if I screwed anything up, because I probably did. Okay, that's it. Thanks, folks. Hope that was helpful. Bye.